Carnival goers beware. A haunted ride that travels across Europe continues its terrifying legacy. Various carnivals across Europe continue to pass along a ride from one carnival to the next, a ride known ominously as the Devil's Eyes. This carnival thrill ride is making headlines across Europe for all the wrong reasons. Riders are reportedly vanishing without a trace, only to reappear years later with no memory of where they've been. Is this ride cursed, or is there something even more sinister at play? This ride seems to devour time. The Devil's Eyes has a chilling reputation. Its massive, glowing eyes seem to follow you as you walk by, casting an eerie light on anyone who dares to get close. Local legend has it that riders disappear into thin air, reappearing years later with no recollection of their lost time. As carnival owners become aware of riders disappearing, besieged by friends and relatives searching for answers as to the whereabouts of their loved ones, they quickly sell the spine-tingling, yet cursed ride to another traveling carnival owner who unwittingly places it onto the midway, thus continuing to expose random thrill seekers to the eerie vanishings. One recent victim, Thomas, shared his terrifying experience with us. I had actually heard of the urban legend surrounding this ride, so when I saw the ride at a local fairground, I was intrigued. I mean, who believes in such things? So I bought my ticket to take a ride. My friends tried to warn me, but I brushed off their warnings as mere superstition. But the moment the gaunt operator handed me a ticket with a sinister grin, I started to think I had made a mistake. As the ride sped up, I blacked out. When I awoke, I found myself in a remote field, disoriented and alone, my body aching, but nothing appeared familiar. I got up unsteadily and saw the small village of Wellington where I grew up in the distance. So I stumbled toward it, each step feeling heavier as a nagging sense of dread filled my mind. When I finally reached the village, the looks of shock and disbelief on the faces of its residents only deepened my confusion. A woman who was friends with my mother, Mrs. Davis, saw me and gasped, her hand trembling as she pointed at me. "You've been gone for 7 years," she whispered. The weight of her words hit me like a train. 7 years? It felt impossible. Then I caught my reflection in a shop window. The truth was undeniable. My face was older, worn by time I can't remember. My once black hair now peppered with gray, my skin etched with lines of age. Questions swirled in my mind, but no answers have ever surfaced. Mrs. Davis confirmed the unthinkable. My parents had passed away, having spent their last years searching for me in vain. I am a stranger in my own life, lost between two worlds, with no memory of where I have been or what has happened to me. The only thing I remember was entering the mouth of the Devil's Eyes. Thomas had become just another name on the growing list of those who vanished after riding the Devil's Eyes. Thomas's story is not unique. Over the years, countless individuals have ridden the Devil's Eyes, only to disappear for years before resurfacing with no memory of their time away. These eerie occurrences have led many to believe the ride is cursed, or perhaps even a portal to another dimension. Detective Sarah Donovan has been investigating the strange disappearances for years. Every victim had one thing in common. They all vanished after riding the carnival attraction. The ride is infamous for its eerie, demonic-themed decor, but the real mystery lay in the fact that people simply disappeared after boarding it. No trace, no struggle, just gone. Years would pass, and then, without explanation, the missing would reappear, wandering back into their lives as if nothing had happened. The only problem, none of them could remember a single thing about where they'd been. Their minds were blank, their memories of their time being gone erased, leaving Donovan with nothing but dead ends and unsettling questions. What I find most disconcerting about this whole thing is the randomness of it, stated Detective Donovan. One person gets on the ride and everything is fine, and another disappears for 10 years. It is pretty bizarre. And yet people still want to ride this thing. It makes no sense. Despite these alarming incidents, the ride remains in operation, moving from one carnival to another, from one European city to the next. The ride's operators have never provided a satisfactory explanation for these mysterious disappearances. Our investigative team confronted the current ride operator, a skeletal man with hollow eyes who had a chilling smile, and when asked about the ride's dark history, "One ticket," is all he said, his voice rasping like dried leaves. Despite our pressing questions, he offered no answers, only that sinister grin. The legend of the Devil's Eyes continues to grow, a dark tale whispered among those who seek out the ride at various carnivals, those who wish to tempt fate. Despite the horrifying tales, will you be the next to vanish into the unknown, or will you heed the warnings and stay far away? Stay tuned for updates on this chilling story and more. Remember, truth is stranger than fiction, and in the case of the Devil's Eyes, the truth is downright terrifying. Don't forget to like and subscribe for the latest in horror.